box over here, but I'm not going to be able to see myself. So let me get back to that. Okay. In this webinar, my goal is to teach you how to, is to prove to you that you can make money writing and self-publishing romance without worrying that you have no experience, wondering if your writing is really good, is any good at all. There are a lot of people who worry about that, and that ain't even one of the top skills you have to have. And I'll prove it to you in this webinar. And I've been stressing about, if I spend the time writing a book, will it sell? So that's what I'm going to convince you of. You should be well convinced of that by the end of this webinar. And I'm going to jump right into it. This is my first case study. This is the book that got me into writing romance. It was my sister's first book. I have two sisters. One is a writer like me, but before she wrote her first romance called Loving a Texan from New Orleans, she had never written romance either. Both of us were kind of wrote nonfiction books. But anyway, she went on a road trip. She said this book just came to her out of the blue. And my sister, just a little background, she's always been a writer, like more of a fiction writer, but we wrote nonfiction because that's what was selling, you know, at the time. That's what we knew how to do. We both have a background in publishing. And so she's already always written fiction, but she had never published anything, and she'd never written a romance book at all. There was other types of fiction. She'd never written romance at all. Anyway, so she went on a road trip to Texas, no less. It was visiting my nephew while he was in basic training in the military out there. And she said this book came to her and it just wouldn't let her go. So she sat down and took about a week to write it. It was about 65 pages. She uploaded it to Amazon on February the 3rd of 2013, and 25 days later, on February the 28th, she had sold 541 copies of that book for over $1,130 in sale. She priced it at $299, and on Amazon, when you price a book at $299, you get 70% of the sales price. So we were both shocked by that because, like I said, we came out of a publishing background, and we didn't know anything about fiction publishing though. And so we were just shocked. And so, of course, you know, the little sibling rivalry thing kicking in. I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it too. So I sat down and wrote a book. It bombed, but we'll get to that a little later. But anyway, this was the book that got me into writing romance and got me to know, you can make good money doing this. I didn't realize that until later. But like I said, I'll get into all of that later. But this is the book that started it all. It was a book my sister wrote, and you can look it up on Amazon. Loving a Texan from New Orleans. Her name is Cassandra Black. Just a C with two S's. It still sells to this day. But before we get any further into that, I just wanted to